have no further questions.
You know, on
Mr.
that
Chair.
point, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. Well, the public are listening. We have two resource persons who are saying that Yusek Bernardo is lying. But Yusek Bernardo is a state witness now because he has already been evaluated and included in the witness protection program. Is that right?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
All right. And just one point on the substandard that you mentioned earlier, Senator Pangilinan, Mr. Chairman. Itong mga, madali makita nyo yung ghost. This is addressed to the DPWH. Ano? Kita na eh. So madaling ayusin, madaling kasuhan. Okay. Ang sinasabi ninyo ngayon, medyo natatagalan kayo sa substandard, di ba? Pagka ganun, kailangan pang patunayan eh. Meron pang ano yan, yung quality nung project, ano? So in the meantime, I suggest that what you do is that you either ask the pickup or if you can do it, automatically suspend, blacklist, or ban the contractors of those projects, of those substandard projects. Automatic, ganun po kagad siguro. Dahil matatagalan kayo sa investigation pag substandard, sabi nyo nga, hindi po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair, no, once po makita namin or ma-prove po namin agad na substandard yung project, we will already take all the actions available to us, all the remedies available to us, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, can I just also correct my earlier statement doon po sa number of ghost projects? No? Ang pending po na nasampahan na namin ng kaso are 4. And then we will await po yung ICI validation on the remaining. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Saan yung apat? Sorry.
All in Bulacan po.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
My first set of questions tungkol po dun sa coordinates, no? Let me ask you, Sec Bernabe. So you're confirming na yung first set of coordinates merong mali, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And that created or that led to 421 projects na nilista natin na ghost or substandard. Correct?
Yes, correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Hindi ko kasi maintindihan ano yung motivation for providing wrong coordinates. Because, syempre, we're saying the former leaders of DPWH provided wrong coordinates. Pero ang magiging output po niyan, may mga lugar na akala nyo ghost project, pero yun pala mali yung mga lugar. So in short, it would create more problems for them. Kasi mas lalaki yung number of ghost projects. Correct, no? Tama ba ako?
Tama, Mr. Chair.
Tama. So, hindi ko maintindihan yung logic why you would provide wrong coordinates. Because if I provide a wrong coordinate at walang makita doon, ghost project yon, mas guilty ka. Di ba? Mas guilty yung ahensya, mas guilty yung mga kasama sa DPWH doon. So, I'm trying to understand, can you hazard a guess why they would put in wrong coordinates?
Mr. Chair, perhaps we can ask
Secretary, you may, but alam ko you answered this already earlier, right?
Yes, Your Honor. I think, in the first place, it is not actually correct to say that what we have submitted are wrong coordinates. These are correct coordinates, but for purposes of planning.
So meaning wala pa pong nabubuo.
These are locational coordinates, Your Honor. There are locational coordinates. Now, the other coordinates that we are talking about are coordinates for contracting purposes.
Hindi ho ba magkaparehas ang locational tsaka ang contractual
Kung
coordinates?
minsan hindi ho yung locational is where the project is located, and then the other one is actually yung as-stake plan. That is the purpose of actually, then it could differ from the locational coordinate and actually the
Okay.
actual contract coordinates.
Okay, Secretary, hindi ho ba ang locational coordinate is a specific point, di ba? Pero syempre, pag pumunta ka na doon, siguro naman within your eyesight, makikita mo yung
Yes.
proyekto, di ba? So it should be within that vicinity?
Yes, Your Honor. It is actually where the project, what town, anong province, and anong river
Oh,
nando doon.
okay, but ganun po ka general?
Yes, Your
What
Honor.
river?
For-
Hindi anong part of the river?
Yes, for purposes of planning, Your Honor.
Okay, Yusek Bernabe, my concern is that naglabas po kayo sa publiko 421 projects na alanganin. And now we're saying, ops, teka lang, hindi yan 421, actually, mas mababa yan. Correct, yan ang mangyayari, no? Hindi naman yan dadami, mas kukonti yan.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. That is correct.
And ang takot ko, yung publiko na ngayon pa lang mababa na ang tiwala sa atin, baka ang isipin nila, nag-cover up tayo. Kasi yung 400 noon na binalandra natin ngayon, sabihin mo ng 200 na lang, 150 na lang, ibig sabihin yan, mas konti yung mga alanganing nahanap. Are you thinking of that? Naiisip niyo po ba yun na baka yun ang dating sa tao na may tinatago tayo, sinabi na nating 400, ngayon babalik tayo, 300 lang pala, 200 lang pala.
Yeah, of course, Mr. Chair. No? Kaya lang po, that's why we used at the onset, ay suspected ghost projects. Suspected pa lang po dahil subject of validation.
Okay.
Of course, after validation, kung naman meron po nakitang structure, then of course, our hands are tied. We will have to cross that out.
Okay,
And,
Yusek, my suggestion, and of course the committee is here to accept the data, is kung dun sa 421, maging malinaw tayo, at ilagay talaga natin nasaan yung proyektong nahanap ninyo kumpara sa bawat coordinate na binigay natin dun sa 421. Diba? Kung babawasan natin yan, dapat malinaw na ang coordinate na ito, ang proyektong nagawa pala ay nandito, and that should be within the same municipality, the same town, or even the same river system. Correct, Yusek, no?
Tama, Mr. Chair. Ganyan din po ang gagawin ng ICI and ng DPWH when it comes with its final report
Okay.
on the 421.
So I suggest that you don't just come up with a new list. You refer to the first list and explain per item kung saan nahanap yung proyekto. Because I remember in one of the previous hearings, one of the resource persons was adamant, I'm not sure if that was Secretary Bonoan, no? Was adamant na hindi, may project dyan, no? And it turns out na mukhang meron nga, no? Is that correct, Yusek?
Possibly, Mr. Chair. Kaya po kami natagalan kasi po we were taking it case-to-case basis. Just also to avoid na baka po may nagtuturo lang na, just to say na meron diyang proyekto pero hindi naman pala talaga yun yung corresponding project of that contract ID. So we have to be very careful also in analyzing each contract, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so do you have a timeline kung kailan nyo mailalabas yung bagong datos ng mga ghost at substandard projects?
Within the first quarter, Mr. Chair.
March? First quarter is March.
Latest na po, Mr. Chair.
Sorry?
As soon as practicable, we will have it maybe in the next month po, Mr. Chair.
Okay, but I suggest you come up with that list as soon as possible and ma-explain ninyo sa bawat tinanggal ninyo dun sa 421, dapat merong explanation rin yan na saan nagkamali dun sa datos. Because again, I'm just warning you na ang tiwala sa hindi lang sa inyo, sa ating lahat sa gobyerno, napakababa. 'Di ba? Baka ang automatic na iisipin ng mga tao may tinatago tayo. So, for your information.
Your Honor. Your Honor.
Yes. Yes, sorry po. Yusek.
Nagtatanong po kayo ano yung possible purpose or motive ng pagbibigay ng maling coordinates. Sa tingin ko po ito eh. Ito po yung kung ano po yung situation natin ngayon.
Meaning na magulo lang.
Na magulo lang. And yung credibility po nung lahat ng involved ay mawala sa ating publiko.
Okay. That's possible, no? Okay, thank you for that. Okay, let me ask about the budget process very quickly kay Acting Secretary Toledo. So dito po sa Senado, we've been doing our best for the 2026 budget na baguhin yung mga proseso namin. For the first time, at least habang senador po ako, yung mga kapwa senador po natin on the record, sinabi kung ano yung mga proyektong ilalagay sa budget that was done. We saw that here. If I'm not mistaken, that was the first time in history. Naging transparent po yung ating BICAM. It was live streamed, no? Of course, Senator Gatchalian was under a very stressful time. Nauubo pa rin ngayon sa stress. Hindi pa rin tapos yung stress niya. Pero we did our best po to do the reforms. Now, may I ask, what are the reforms that DBM is doing sa proseso ng pagbuo ng budget? Meron ho ba kayong mga binagong proseso, or are you doing the exact same process that you've been doing for the past decades already?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. As mentioned, we've been doing this budget preparation over and over, but we have introduced some reforms as far as the 2027 budget is concerned. One is, sabi ko nga is, those RDC process, we make sure that the RDC process will be undertaken with strict compliance and to be followed. As a matter of fact, together with our counterpart at DepDep, they have already mentioned that they're scheduled to have a hearing at the RDC by February up to March. So that's one. Second is the complete listing of the projects as far as, well, in this particular case, the DPWH, that they have to have that listing of projects as far as probably by district and by district if possible. So that we'll have to, of course, para malaman natin talaga na mayroon siyang listahan ng project. At the same time, what we have already adopted is yung coordinates. Yes, that's supposed to be attached to the project listing. So that's one. Those are some of the reforms. And of course, yung citizens participation kasi, one of that is under our budget call is yung citizens engagement. The making sure that citizens are actively participating in the process of identifying programs and projects.
You know, Secretary Toledo, kaya naman eh. No, I think the 2026 budget, no matter how painful the process was in the last few weeks, it shows na kaya naman gawin yung reforma, no? And both houses can actually get to a place na magiging normal yung mas transparent na mga proseso. Yung mga farm-to-market roads na pinag-usapan po dito, nangailangan ng coordinates, no, Senator Kiko? That was the rule that Senator Kiko had suggested. Merong coordinates, kung merong proyekto, kailangan ng resolusyon mula sa LGU, and so on and so forth. And that was basically done just in the last maybe two months or 3 months since the budget arrived here at the Senate. But ngayong 2026, simula pa lang, maybe we can start to institute this much earlier. Kumbaga, pwede na ho tayo magmatigas even from now. DBM, pag ginawa niyo yung NEP, kailangan yung mga proyekto dyan, kumpleto lahat ng paperwork, kailangan identified ahead of time, kailangan may RDC approval. And then, i-minimize talaga natin yung mga nasisingit. No? I'll be honest with you, even some agencies until the last minute, sumusubok na magsingit ng mga, hindi naman masama yung proyektong sinisingit nila, but the process by which they were doing it, huling-huli na rin. No? So I'm hoping that as we improved for the 2026 budget, we can improve even further for the 2027 budget. Maaga pa lang, transparent na, maaga pa lang, malinaw yung mga proyekto, and if possible, hindi. But if not, dapat extreme urgency lang talaga na may mga bagong proyektong masisingit left and right, no? And that forces us, meaning the legislators, to start the process much earlier and to be transparent with other stakeholders. No? Hindi lang yung galing sa opisina namin, kung hindi, makikita rin ito ng mga mayor, makikita ng mga ahensya, makikita ng mga NGO, ng mga civil society, at magkalantaran tayo kung ano yung mga proyekto. And, you know, in true democratic fashion, ilabas natin sa taong bayan ano yung mga nais nating gustong mapondohan. I don't think that's ever been done in our history, no? I remember Secretary Bunoan in one of our hearings before, nung tinatanong namin siya, sabi niya, "Sir, sa totoo lang, nasa inyo naman yan eh." You remember, Secretary? It's really up to the legislators, no? So, maybe we can be more strict with ourselves. I think here in the Senate, we've shown na may capacity kami to introduce reform. Congress, I think, will surely follow suit also. Magsisimula rin po yan sa inyo, sa NEP, na lahat ng ililista po natin dyan na pag-aralan, may basis, at hindi po katang-isip lang ng isang grupo o isang tao, talagang napag-usapan talaga at naproseso ng maayos. No? Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We agree with you definitely, Senator Bam. And as a matter of fact, we will now require also the agencies to publish their proposed budget in their website. So that upon submission, at least alam na ng mga tao na ang kanilang proposal ay nasa amin. At the same time, alam naman ng mga CS or the citizens kung ano yung pinopose nila. Kasi ang nangyari ngayon po, they just submit to us what is submitted to us only. Ang nakikita na lang po ay yung NEP. So you will also know kung ano yung mga na-disapprove during the budget process with our deliberations. So yung po isang mga initiative namin so that we want to make it more transparent in terms of not just the submission but also the process that we've done.
Yung RDC process, it's not perfect. No, it's not perfect. But palagay ko yung napag-uusapan ng iba't ibang stakeholder will yield better projects. No?
Yes.
That's my belief. I don't think it's a perfect process. Alam ko may mga na-hijack rin na RDC. But it's a better process than sa dulo kanya-kanyang insertion. Di ba? Itong RDC, will you also publish at the RDC? So DBM will be part of this, the RDC discussions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but the secretariat there is the DepDep
Okay.
secretariat. But yes, Mr. Chair, I guess it would be good that our DC process will also be published and it's available for public scrutiny.
And tama no, Secretary, pag RDC, kahit sinong mamamayan pwede mag-suggest ng proyekto. Correct, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I guess through some proponents, because we cannot just accommodate all citizens in just one sitting for the RDC, but there's someone has probably sponsored or through the CSO process or the citizens civil society organization.
Okay, so ang alam ko, and correct me if I'm wrong, sa RDC process, yung mga LGU, magbibigay ng kanilang suggested projects, CSOs might also suggest, the provincial and even congressmen and senators are
Yes, Mr.
allowed
Chair.
to engage in that process.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And from that process, magde-decide yung RDC. Who chairs the RDC, by the way? Is it DepDev or the governor? Or sorry, it's DepDev yata, no?
DepDep is the secretariat, but the chair is normally the
Governor.
governor.
Okay, then nag-rotate, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so I really suggest that as a response to what's happening or to what has happened, mas strengthen natin yung RDC process. And the metric that we can look at is anong porsyento ng mga proyekto, let's say infra na muna, anong porsyento ng mga infra projects yung may RDC approval at anong porsyento yung wala. No? That can be a guiding metric for us. In one of the previous hearings, nung tinanong ko si Engineer Alcantara, no? Kung anong proyekto yung may RDC at wala, parang nabanggit niya na through the years, lumiliit yung nagmula sa RDC at lumalaki yung mula sa mga legislador. Do you remember that, Engineer Alcantara?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, di ba? Nabanggit mo yun noon, no? So, ibig sabihin, sa kanyang scope of responsibility, naging majority ng mga proyekto galing talaga sa legislador, hindi na galing sa RDC, no? In my first term, I remember the majority of projects would come from the RDC process at mas maliit lang yung mga galing sa mga legislators. Through the years, parang bumaliktad yon. Lumaki yung galing sa legislador, lumiit yung galing sa proseso na mas maraming involved the stakeholder. I hope we can reverse that. And that can be a guiding metric kasi right now, ang metric natin, of course, magkano yung na-allocate sa mga ahensya. Ang metric natin, meron bang nalagay na bagong line item in the BICAM? Maybe we can use as a metric also for the succeeding budget. Sa mga infra projects, ilan ba dyan ang dumaan sa proseso? At ilan ba dyan yung last minute na pinasok? Now, hindi naman lahat ng yan ay masama, pero as a guiding principle, dapat most of our infra projects should go through the right process. Now, am I making sense, Secretary Toledo?
Yes, definitely, Senator Senator Aquino. Yes, as a matter of fact, we have the form that is provided for us that's supposed to be filled up by the department agency as to how much has been acknowledged and included in the budget through the RDC process. That is what BP Form D or C. Okay, and at the same time, we also have a form that also informing what has been accommodated through the through CSO participation. So, yes, you're right in the direction, Mr. Senator.
May I suggest, Secretary, na habang budget call pa lang, meron na kayong agreed on metric. Dapat, kunyari, 90% RDC approval or 80% RDC approval. Dapat X% dyan, nanggaling sa ganito. And hindi ko naman papangunahan po yung leadership dito, but I would think we would be very open to supporting that. No? Of course, the chairman is here. Na isa rin yan sa mga hahanapin nating goals for the 2027 budget. So I have a question. So,
Okay.
so kayo po, you can make that as a metric, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Senator. Yes, Mr. Chair.
But whose
Just-
support do you need para hanggang sa pinakadulo ay masusunod yung metric na yan?
Okay. What is critical here, Mr. Chair, is the adoption of the agency's central office of those regional development council endorsement. Because at the bottom line, Mr. Chair, is what has been being proposed is through the central office, which the secretary or the head of the agency who approves the proposal. So yung po siguro ang kailangan po natin na dapat magkaroon tayo ng assurance also from the agency central office or the secretary head or the secretaries to really adopt what has been approved through the RDC
Okay.
process.
So kung infra yan, it's the
Yes.
Secretary Dizon and sila Yusek are here representing them, no? May I get a comment? Is it Yusek Bernabe or Yusek Bisnar speaking for the agency today? Yusek Bernabe. Basically, ang sagot po ni Secretary Toledo, kung yung secretary ay susunod dito sa RDC approval, then mas masisigurado natin yan. Any comment po?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The Secretary has been reiterating this also as a matter of policy of the agency that moving forward, all projects would be required to have RDC approval and recommendation.
I suggest that you also work with the legislative branches, no? So Congress and the Senate, na pati kami. Kumbaga pati kami dapat magpasailalim dyan. No? And we can minimize yung mga last minute na mga lalabas na mga proyekto. And if we can minimize that at dumaan sa proseso, I think the quality of our projects talagang makikita natin para sa tao yan. Diba? You agree, Yusek Bernabe?
Totally, Mr. Chair. We agree totally.
And yes, Secretary Toledo?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just to note that maaring hindi lahat ma-accommodate yung RDC indoors, but what we want to make sure is kung ano yung nasa NEP ay dapat may RDC indoors. Kasi sa dami po ng demand and of course sa dami ng mga proposal, we cannot just accommodate all.
So your goal is 100% of the NEP infra dumaan sa RDC?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And do you have a number in previous years? What did we achieve in previous years?
That's around only 20 to 30%, Mr. Chair, as far as the RDC indoors projects are included in the NEP.
So currently we're at 20%,
20,
and
yes,
we want to go to 100%.
Making sure
Is that correct?
Well, yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So 20% ang galing. So this is the 2025 or 2026 budget?
2025 to 2026 proposed
Okay.
project.
So ang nais natin, and I want this on the record, no, ang nais natin, sa NEP pa lang, ako nga, majority, you're saying 100% dapat may RDC approval yung mga proyekto. Correct, no? That's what you're saying.
But sometimes, Mr. Chair, our programs and projects sometimes are coming from the central office. So I would like to correct myself that the 100% is, I think, it's not
Okay. Tanong ko to.
majority. Yes, that's a good
Okay.
word for achieving the RDC
But
recommendation.
hindi ba kung central office rin yan, hindi ba magre-reflect rin yan sa mga regional concerns? Hindi ba? Secretary Bonoan?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, let me share with you actually what's being practiced.
Sige po.
Actually. Since under this administration, we're talking about allocation, the allocable amounts per region. This is not for any political allocation, but this is for regional development. And in that, in the formulation of the projects under the core program of the department, we have seen to it that all the projects that will get into the allocation will have to be coming from the Regional Development Council infrastructure program. They have to pick that out from the list of projects that were already included in the Regional Development Council program. And we require all the regional offices and the district offices to certify that the projects that they have included into their program actually came from the Regional Development Council program.
Okay. Pero yung porsyento po niyan,
70%.
70%.
Yes, Your Honor. Because the 30%, well, the 30% is actually a continued assistance under the Mandanas Law.
Okay.
Because, Your Honor, when we formulated the budget under this administration, it was supposed to be the entire budget of the department should have been devoted to the core program of the department, and that is for National Roads Management and Flood Management Program only. But then, when I asked the president, what will we do with the Mandanas Law? And he said, because shall we continue with it? And he said, yes, let's continue with it because you don't expect that the local governments have enough revenues because of the pandemic. It was at that time when this administration took over, the economy of the government was at the lowest because of the pandemic and the international uplifts.
Okay, thank you, Secretary. Let me ask Yusek Bernardo. Sir, yung mga proyektong nabanggit ninyo or napag-usapan nyo sa affidavit na may mga porsyentuhan, were these projects duman ba to sa RDC? Or were these insertions? Were they purely from legislators? I mean, just to your memory, Mr. Bernardo.
I think, Mr. Chair, most of those projects came from the RDC. However, there were lists that came out from the BICAM na later on po, pag lumabas doon, we require the district engineers or the regional directors to get clearance from the RDC or the local government.
So, nire-reverse nyo rin yung
Opo.
proseso.
Yes
So,
po.
ibig sabihin, kahit may RDC pa yan, hindi ibig sabihin na napakalinis niyan. May mga galaw-galaw pa rin dyan.
Tama po yun, Mr. Chair, but ang pinag-uusapan po namin dito, ang nabanggit ko po, ay yung pong walang RDC. Yung mga walang RDC po na yun, binabalik namin sa distrito or sa regional director to get clearance from the RDC or else to get clearance from the local government.
Yes.
Meron po kami mga...
So, I'm just trying to correct, no? So, Secretary Toledo, hindi ibig sabihin may RDC ay walang corruption yan. Tama po, Yusek, no? Kahit RDC pa yan, pwede rin niyang may mga porsyentuhan, contractor, and all of that.
Maaari po.
Maaari. So, let me correct that, no? So, hindi rin siya exactly the same.
Intervene, no? Related. Kung lahat ng or majority ng mga proyekto na pinapasok ninyo galing sa RDC, bakit pagka budget season, ba't katakot-takot ang governor, mayor, barangay chairman, nandyan sa hallway namin? Kung galing sa RDC, galing sa mga governors, galing sa local development councils, bakit puno yung hallway namin tuwing budget deliberation? Kindly explain. I cannot reconcile.
Well, I think they have other local priorities, probably, Your Honor, that they want to be included in the budget.
No, ang ibig sabihin nun, hindi galing sa RDC, hindi galing sa Local Development Council. Kaya sila nakikiusap sa mga congressmen, sa mga senador, tuwing budget deliberation.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you.
There has to be a better check siguro, Secretary Toledo, no? Kasi, kumbaga, sinasabi ni Yusek Bernardo, kung RDC lang approval, makukuha mo naman yan eh. Basically, right, no? Secretary Bernardo, Yusek Bernardo. So, there has to be a better check in terms of yung papasok sa NEP ng mga proyekto, no? And we're here to support these reforms, no? Nais natin makita yung mga reformang ito para yung klase ng mga proyekto mas akma sa pangangailangan ng tao. And I would like to think kung dumaan sa proseso, mas maganda yung kalidad ng mga proyekto kaysa sa naisip na lang sa last minute, no? Pero yung presyo rin, kailangan nasa tamang lugar din. Kasi basically, ang testimonya dito ni Yusek Bernardo, kahit may RDC yan, posible yung presyo, naka-accommodate pa rin dun sa mga porsyentuhan na nakikita natin. So there has to be a better process there. Maybe it's also the timing, no? By a certain date, dapat mas stricto tayo sa budget call or mas stricto tayo sa mga klase ng proyekto. Maybe I've lost my time, no? But Yusek Bernabe, are you undergoing a review of all of the designs of DPWH? Are you doing that now?
Mr. Chair, designs of the
Of all your
infrastructure.
projects, no? In the testimony here sa Blue Ribbon, na-establish na almost all of these projects are over-designed para ma-accommodate yung mga porsyentuhan. No? The actual project cost is actually much less than what your designs have. Are you doing that? Alam ko yung CMPD, ginawa nyo na yan, di ba? But
right.
yung mga disenyo mismo, binabago ba ninyo?
Mr. Chair, I believe we are in the process. Inuna po namin yung CMPD kasi yun po yung pinaka, I think, yun yung padded talaga, no, for overpricing. For the designs, I guess it will take time again, no? Usually po kapag naman mga technical infrastructure, we have consultants to the designs. But
Okay.
I will check with our Bureau of Design.
For the record, no, marami na
Kindly wrap
akong
up, Senator
yes, marami na akong rekomendasyon and yung pag-check ng mga disenyo, yung CMPD actually nanggaling rin yan sa mga hearings na i-check ng DPWH. You might also need to update that, by the way, kasi 6 na buwan na atang or 5 months nang lumipas. Posible rin na hindi na rin valid. You should update. Ang CMPD is updated every month ba or every
Semester,
quarter?
Mr. Chair.
Every semester, so twice a year.
Yes,
Twice a
Mr.
year. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Maraming
Thank
salamat.
you. Before we discuss the, I think, the much anticipated Cabral files, so we can listen to Congressman Leandro Leviste, para lang to just get this out of the way, ano? Yusek Bernardo, naikwento ninyo na noong nagsisikay ng sanctuary, nagulat kayo na biglang sumulpot si General Nick Torre. Kindly explain to us kung ano yung circumstances.
Yes po, Mr. Chair. When I was implicated po dito sa flood control, I immediately sought the advice po of the spiritual sector. I mean, lumapit po ako sa kanila, sa simbahan, at humingi po ako ng protection at sanctuary. Ngayon, nung humingi po ako ng sanctuary, after my first testimony po dito, nung nag-testify po ako nung, I think that was September 25, pagkaraan po noon, medyo naka-feel na po ako ng hindi maganda sa pakiramdam ko ay nagkaroon po ng problema ako sa security or sa family ko. So, isa pong kaibigan ang nagmalasakit sa akin na kumbaga lumapit po at dumirekta po sa isang religious, isang respected priest. Ngayon, nung lumapit po ako sa kanya at nakipag-usap po, ay nagkaroon po sila ng parang sinasabi tutulungan po ako sa isang safe house wherein I was invited and with my family po, sinama ko po doon sa safe house. Sa isang safe house po, sinama ko po yung 3 anak ko. At sinama ko pa nga po yung aking lawyer eh. Kasi gusto ko pong malaman talaga yung pinaka, ilalagay na ako sa safe house. So, during that time po, medyo nagkakaroon po ako ng takot at pati yung pamilya ko. So, pumunta po kami sa lugar na isang tinuro sa aming safe house. And during that time po, nung dumating po ako doon, ay of course, nandun po yung priest na kausap ko. At nung dumating po kami doon, ay namangha po ako, nandun si General Torre. So, nung nandun po si General Torre, of course, alam ko naman po na during the time, he was already on floating status. But he was still a 4-star general during the time. Kaya lamang wala na po siya sa role ng PNP. So, nakita ko nga po, may patrol pa doon sa labas ng safe house eh. Doon sa malayo po doon, hindi naman po malapit. So, sinama ko po yung aking 3 anak at kasama po yung aking abogado at kasama po yung priest. Nag-discuss po kami regarding security issues. Kasi po, yun lang naman po yung purpose ko for to secure my family and myself doon po sa lugar. But nung malaunan po, he told me about the restrictions of yung pong mga bagay na pwedeng gawin sa safe house, mga hindi dapat gawin. So nagkaroon po ako ng, nag-iisip po ako noon. Sabi ko, siyempre, I need to consult with my family kasi 3 anak ko lang po yung kasama ko doon. So nung, nagpaalam po ako because during the time po, I'll be having my check-up. Kailangan ko po magpa-check up sapagkat meron po akong problema sa sinus. So, during that time po, nagpaalam po ako na sabi ko, maybe I can go back after 2 days kasi pagpapa-check up naman po ako and I will be seeking the help of my own security. Ako na lang po yung gaganap mismo at nangako po ako na babalik po ako after 2 days. But after 2 days po, ay napag-anuan po namin that for the meantime, medyo nabigla din po kasi mga anak ko dahil siyempre po nanibago po sa sitwasyon namin at marami pong events na nangyari. So, hindi na po ako bumalik doon. So, ang ginawa ko po ay parang naputol na yung aking communication after that time. So, hindi na po ako nagbalik doon.
Was he following up? Bakit hindi ka na bumalik?
I think meron pong mga, during that time, I've got his number po. Doon sa araw na yon, nung gabi po na yon, at nagte-text po siya, kinukumusta po ako ni General. So sabi ko naman po, okay naman ako. But after that po, I decided to reset my phone.
Yeah, ang pagtataka ko lang, hindi ba nag-occur sa'yo under whose authority and in what capacity could General Torre provide security para sa iyo?
Medyo nag-isip din po ako noon while ako naman po buwan tiwala ko because of my spiritual advisor, yung pong yung pari po nakausap ko. So, ako naman po nag-iisip din po ako mabuti doon kasi during the time po that we were talking, palabas-labas po siya at may tinatawagan.
Hindi, nasa kanya na. Anyway, alam nyo, kaya lang ako interesado because scatterbat ito Ito, unreliable. Kumbaga sa aming classification sa military sa police, F6. No? Hindi A1, F6, pinakamababa. Na meron daw mga testigo na hinahawakan tungkol sa flood control. I don't know if my colleagues here have also heard about this, sabi natin, chismis. Pero very loud yung chismis na may mga hawak siyang ibang testigo. For what reason or what motive, hindi ko alam. Kaya lang ako nag-interesado when I found out that he also got in touch with you through an intermediary para mag-provide ng security sa'yo. Now that you clarified the matter, hindi naman siya persistent.
Hindi naman po, Mr. Chair, kasi after that po, siyempre po, doon po sa may mga pinararating din ako doon sa aking spiritual advisor, doon po sa tumutulong sa akin. And I think ang pinarating po sa akin, they were praying with, pinapagdasal po nila ako, ganun. So ako naman po, on my part, nung nangyari na po yon, hindi ko po alam yung, Mr. Chair, hindi ko po alam yung ganung purpose, kung mayroong purpose sa akin na But definitely, during the time po, I was in the process of applying for the WPP. Nasa Witness Protection Program application na po ako. And I think, doon naman po, yung akin naman po pagpunta ron, wala pong legality. Halimbawa po, sila po yung magkocontrol sa akin. Hindi ko po yun, dahil ako naman I was with the DOJ seeking clearance and
At
sa
that
DOJ.
time kasi you were already under evaluation.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
And medyo positive naman yung response ng DOJ sa application mo.
Yes po, Mr.
So I
Chair.
was just wondering, bakit kailangan humingi pa ng protection outside of the WPP?
Mr. Chair, ang pinaka-purpose...
Hindi ka naman pwedeng bigyan ng immunity dun. No.
Mr. Chair, ang akin pong paglapit sa simbahan ay for my family security at sa akin po. At saka po purely spiritual advice. Hindi po dun sa talagang, although they offered me a sanctuary na siyang safe house, pero hindi po yun ang lapit ko sa kanila. Hindi naman po ganun.
Yes, Senator Pangilinan.
On his testimony, just one quick question. Kasi sa testimony, sa affidavit rather ni Yusek Bernardo, nabanggit niya I can confirm based on my number 7, page 2. My personal knowledge that in some form or another and on various extents, based on current setup, each and every DPWH official employee from top and down line is buffeted with various avenues of corrupt practices. Tama po, di ba? Nabanggit niyo yan.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Tapos sabi po nyo, this is also true for several top officials of other departments or agencies such as DOF, DENR, DOH, DepEd, DA, DAR, DOTR, PCSO, Philippine Co. Tama po ba yun?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. I mentioned that in my affidavit.
Yes. So, ang tanong ng basic, marami pa ba dun sa mga nabanggit nyong mga ahensya? Incumbent pa rin?
Mr. Chair, may I consult with my counsel?
Yes, you don't have to say the names. I won't, because that will have to be subject to of another investigation. But we just want to know, dun sa mga personal knowledge mo, mga nakaupo pa ba itong mga ito? Yes. Because this should also be, the DOJ should also be interested in this. If we are really serious about going after all these crooks.
You're right, Mr. Chair. The department is very much interested in that, and that is the reason why these matters cannot be disclosed right now, because there are ongoing case build-ups.
No, I'm not asking for any name. I'm
Yes,
just asking for a general question. Meron pa bang mga nakaupo?
Yeah, I think
Yes or no?
as far as that question is concerned, it's okay
Yes.
for Mr.
Meron pa
Bernardo to
bang
answer.
nakaupo na opisyal? Yes or no?
Do I have the,
Yes.
the clearance from the...
Just yes or no? So that we are made aware.
I think yes po. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Before we leave this topic, nabanggit nyo sa affidavit nyo na si Secretary Bonoan, mentor ninyo, di ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
How long have you known him?
I think kahit po nung ako'y isang assistant district engineer or district engineer po.
But you used to be very, very close, hindi ba?
Nagpapasyal po ako sa kanya nun. Siyempre po, kami pong mga from the district engineering offices, ay kumbaga namamasyal po kami sa mga USEC nun during the time
No,
dahil...
hindi yung mga USEC, kay Secretary Bonoan.
Doon po, USEC po siya.
Close, close kayo. In fact, nag-choke ka noong binanggit mo yung pangalan niya, napansin lang namin yon.
Yes po, close po ako kay SEC.
And wala kang, this is not a leading question, pero wala akong maisip na motibo para implicate mo siya. Other than, sabihin mo yung totoo, hindi ba?
Yes po, I'm after for the truth po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So,
Chair, clarification lang. I noticed, Mr. Chair, when Yusek Bernardo tried to confer with his counsel, the counsel approached him, and then before anything else, he also went to PG Padulion. Why is that, Mr. Chair?
kasi he's already admitted sa WPP and sa kanilang existing na rules, under the rules, kailangan bago sumagot, baka maka-apekto sa kanyang pagka-admit, kailangan talaga may clearance sa DOJ. Thank you.
Medyo magulo yun, Mr. Chair, kasi...
Medyo magulo nga rin, pero yun ang kanilang...
Bakit kinakailangan nyo siyang padalan dito pagkatapos marirestrict din pala? This is an open investigation. Sana walang ganon, kasi nangyari na sa amin yon when the former DOJ was here, habang nag-uusap-usap kami rito, habang nagtatanong-tanong kami, kukunin niya yung isang witness namin o isang resource person, dadalhin sa NBI. Pagdating sa NBI, meron ng supplemental affidavit. Naguguluhan kami sa ganung pangyayari. This is supposed to be an independent committee under the legislature. The DOJ is an executive department. I'm not questioning this, no? But parang magulo lang sa amin. So, kaya ko lang na-point out, Mr. Chair.
Question sa DOJ. Under the WPP, law ba itong yung ganyan?
confidentiality, Mr. Chair. The matter that pertains in confidentiality of the proceedings as well as the manner by which the witness was evaluated and how he was covered is confidential. That's the reason why it is being invoked by the witness, Mr. Chair, because like I said earlier, it is not because we want to restrict his testimony, but there is a law. The law itself
So it
provides
is the law that says so.
Yes, and it
So-
provides for penal sanctions.
Okay.
Mr.
So
Chair.
to answer the question of the concern of Secretary or Senator Marcoleta, kailangan i-amend yung law pala. No.
that
Chair.
may be one of the suggestions since the committee is investigating this in aid of legislation, if that is considered a restriction in investigations like this, then maybe the law will have to be amended first.
In the meantime, constrain kayo ng batas.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are
Thank you.
constrained by law.
Thank you, PG.
Mr. Chair, kasi yung interpretation niya ang palaging mali eh. Yung confidentiality dyan, ang pinag-uusapan, sa inyo lang yun, sa witness protection ninyo dyan. Pero pagdating dito, it does not apply. Ikaw lang ang nag-interpret kasi kaya kanina pa tayo nagtatalo eh.
May I respond, Mr. Chair? With all due respect to Senator Marcoleta saying that our interpretation is always wrong, the law itself provides for it, Section 7. And we are not raising this, like I said, simply because we want to constrict the investigation. The law does not make a distinction whether the investigation is going to be done elsewhere or in the Senate or before the House of Representatives. So we are simply citing the law, and we are constrained by the law because, as I said, there are penal sanctions.
So if the law does not provide any distinction, bakit nga kailangan ka pang mag-confer sa ano? Bakit kailangan ka pang puntahan? Ikaw na nagsasabi ng walang distinction eh, di ba? So kung nandito siya, let him speak. Na hindi na dapat pupunta pati yung counsel niya. Eh, yun lang, mali na eh. Meron siyang sariling counsel, pagkatapos pupunta pa siya sa'yo. Eh, it is an insult to his own personal counsel. Kaya magulo talaga eh. Gusto ko itanong halimbawa kay Yusek Bernardo, in-apply nyo na pala siya sa WPP. Ni-require nyo siya ng restitution, di ba? Sasabihin mo na naman, that is confidential. Kamo na naman.
No, Mr. Chair, I'm not going to say that's confidential.
No, earlier, you were talking about confidentiality. You remember the last time?
Yes,
na
yes,
tinatanong ko?
I did mention that, Mr. Chair. I talked
Oh,
about
why are you
confidentiality. But with respect to the restitution, I think that's a matter of public record already. Because that was already stated by Mr. Bernardo, and he was allowed by the Secretary of
Yes,
Justice.
earlier you were not forthright in answering that. Nung tinatanong ko, ang una mong sinabi, that's confidential. Now, nagsasabi ka, it is not confidential. So, paiba-iba ka ng position eh talaga. Hindi tayo magkakasundo.
Mr.
Kahit-
Chair, if he
I'm
just...
not asking any questions anymore.
No, I'm just raising the question to the
Thank
chairman,
you,
Mr. Chair.
You cannot do that.
Thank you. Are we done? So, sige, let's move on. Kung walang members na gusto magtanong do sa ating dalawang bagong witnesses, no, in relation to the Diskaya Romualdez issue, then we'll excuse them already.
Mr. Chair, gusto ko sanang magtanong lang sana
sige,
kung
go ahead.
papayag ka.
Of course.
Yung tungkol doon sa Tamarid House sa South Forbes, yung binabanggit mo kanina, di ba? And then you were asking for some parang leeway in terms of a few days para i-vacate ninyo because you're not yet ready with all the things that you need to move out, di ba? Sino yung may-ari ba talaga nung bahay na yon?
Your Honor, hindi po kami aware kung sino po yung owner mismo, but we are...
I will answer that. Ang may-ari po dati, Doris Magsaysay Ho.
And you were there as what?
Staff ng tenant. May tenant kasi si Doris Magsaysay Ho na sila nakatira, silang staff. So nung nabenta, existing pa yata yung lease contract, so hindi sila umaalis. Pero pinipilit silang umalis nung bagong owner.
And allegedly, ang bagong owner is Martin Romualdez.
Yun ang sinasabi.
Yun ang sinasabi mo kanina.
Yes.
At referring to Diskaya.
No, let's based on documents, yung bahay na ibenta sa isang corporation, Golden Peasant Holdings Corporation. Incidentally, the major stockholder, also used to sit in the board of at least 2 corporations associated with the former speaker. Ito yung Benguet Corporation. I think mining yata ito. Yung isa yung may joint venture sa ABS-CBN. Dito yung pangalan. Teka. Romualdez something. And another one, I think Mark Venture something, at saka treasurer siya doon sa, yun nga, yung media company owned by Romualdez, kasi Romualdez Media something na may joint venture sa ABS-CBN. So yun ang association. So, no, we're not trying to implicate the former speaker, Hindi tayo nagta-target dito. Dumating lang sa ating attention, but we cannot disregard because sabi ko nga, there were persistent reports na ang initial information nga sa pangalan ni Diskaya na or kay Diskaya na ibenta. So it appears now na hindi totoo kasi ang naging role lang allegedly ni Carly Diskaya, yun nga, dumating siya doon February or January at sinasabihan sila, umalis na kayo dyan. So yun lang ang pinagtataka natin. So, hindi naman ito enough to implicate or to implead the former speaker. But, this is something that DOJ or the Ombudsman or the Ombudsman can follow through. We are only providing a lead for whatever it is worth. Yun lang ang purpose dito. Because if you really want to go after the so-called, sabi nyo nga, wag yung sapsap at saka mga dilis, hanapin yung malaking isda. And this is the direction that we are taking. But I repeat, hindi ito enough, itong information is not enough to implicate, not even implicate the former speaker. This is just, we may just consider this as a lead, kasi merong connection. But of course, dininay naman ni Carly Diskaya, so let's leave it at that. So with that, I would like to ask your permission to excuse the 2 ladies. Meron pa? Sige, okay.
Thank you for the explanation, Mr. Chair. Dito sa code namin, sino si
Pala,
Marie?
Romualdez Media Servicio Production Corporation.
Oo. Sino yung sino yung Joy? So ikaw si May. May, napanood mo ba si Saldico nung siya ay nagpadala ng mga video na kung saan sinabi niya na nag-deliver siya ng 1B doon sa bahay diyan sa Tamarind Road in Forbes. Nasa rito nasa social media to. Lahat napanood to Napanood mo?
Hindi ko po siya direkta na panood, pero nung sinabi po, nabanggit po sa amin regarding 30 Tamarind, we got curious.
Oo. Naging curious ka. Pagkatapos, natatandaan mo ba na sinabi ni Saldico na si Speaker Martin ang nag-designate nung lugar na yon na pagdadalhan ng 1B? Nandun din sa yun. Di ko lang matandaan yung pagkakasabi, pero yung gist ganito niya sinabi. Napanood niyo ba yun?
Wala po akong matandaan na ganong Pero nabasa po namin yung report regarding sa 30 Tamarind.
Yun nga. And then,
Natambakan ng pera.
maaring natatandaan nyo na sinabi rin ni Saldico, doon din sa na yun, sa paghahayag na yun, na si Yusek Jojo Cadiz ang tumanggap na yun ay drop-off lamang ng delivery sa bahay daw ng ating Pangulo daw sa Nara. Ando, siya yung nagsasabi siya nagsasalita Napanood ko yun Tinatanong ko lang kung kayo napanood nyo din yung ganong klaseng paghahayag na ginawa ni Saldico?
Hindi po namin nasubaybayan yung mga hearing at saka yung news. Naging curious lang po kami nung nagkaroon na nga po ng report tungkol dun sa 30 Tamarind.
Oh, okay.
So, hindi po namin matandaan yung news na ganun po.
Okay, baka naman gusto nyo rin alisin yung takip para makita namin kung gaano kayo kaganda. Kasi alam ko, magaganda po kayo. Kung okay lang naman po, kung hindi naman, okay din po sa amin.
Actually, request nila Senator Marcoleta na kung pwedeng, kaya nga Elias yung ginamit ko, binuko naman
Oo
yun
nga
yung pangalan eh.
Pero kasi yung kagandahan, hindi pwedeng ipagkait, Mr. Chair. Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so let's move on. So you are excused, Maria and Joy. Elias. Sige. Thank you very much. The OSAA you'll be turned over to the OSAA for your own security. Thank you very much. On a lighter note, kanina kasi, pinapalis natin yung talukbong ni RD Pakanan. Sabi niya, ayaw niya. Alam niyo, sabi ng staff ko, isang Google lang, nandyan yung kanyang, yung kanyang mukha eh. So, bakit kailan magtakip? Isang Google nga lang. Pakita mo nga yung Google. Just a screen. Andiyan ba? Meron ba tayo? Ayan ang mukha mo, Director. Bakit kailangan magtalukbong ka public, sabi nga ni Senator Kiko, public official ka Hindi maring hindi mawala ng file sa, ayan si Director Pakanan. Sabi ko, on a lighter note, kasi wala namang importansya yan. So let's move on. I would like to recognize the Honorable Congressman from the 1st District of Batangas, Congressman Leandro. What can you share with the committee?
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I would be glad to answer any questions that you might have, specifically on the contents of the Cabral files. I also understand that DPWH is here, so perhaps they would be also well positioned to lead the discussion. But with Secretary Manny Bonoan here also, I believe this is a great opportunity to learn more about how the system of the budget allocations have worked. And I have here a printout of the list of over 17,000 projects, and they are actually divided into 12 major tags. Mr. Chair, it would be worth reading the major tags. There is a allocable of 401.3 billion, BINI 10 of 6 billion, BIP on top of 33.4 billion, SENTI 2025 of 100 billion, F1 of 10 billion, N1 Prio 1 of 20 billion, non-allocable of 61.5 billion, OPESAP of 8 billion, OT2 of 21.27 billion, SANDI of 14 billion, Senators of 20.5 billion, and SMB/others of 25.6 billion. This is based, sir, on the copy that I obtained, as well as another copy that I have seen that was separately obtained from the DPWH.
Yeah, may we ask the DPWH, are you familiar with the documents read out by Congressman Leviste?
No, Mr. Chair. We have no copy
If
of
you are
this
shown a
one.
copy, can you attest to the authenticity of the document? Page, pakibigay nga isang kopya sa kay Undersecretary Bernabe.
Actually, this is just a printout po.
Mr. Chair, if I may also call in Yusek Nick Conti from our planning service.
Please take your seat. With your indulgence, Congressman, para lang makita natin kung properly authenticated ng DPWH. In the meantime, the members can ask questions. while waiting for the DPWH to examine the documents?
Mr. Chair, while the DPWH is also here, we also have the budget per district summary, which was also obtained from them that maybe the page can also give them.
Mr. Chair, yeah. We are comparing the documents now, and
Go ahead.
what we have is the second batch of documents pertaining to the district allocations budget allocations per district. As to the first set of files given to us, we have no personal knowledge of these files.
Can you make a quick perusal para ma-determine nyo alin ba dyan yung pwede nyo agad na masabing ang source talaga DPWH at masabi nyo hindi yung iba? Kung hindi naman, we can you can do it at a later date, ano? Kung gusto niyo yung iuwi as
Mr. Chair,
homework.
ito pong pangalawang set of files, we can validate. Ito po yung hawak ko ngayon. Ito pong first set, we will have to look into this. But I would surmise baka ito po yung galing sa computer ni late Undersecretary Cabral.
So yung second batch, we can allow him to proceed, ano? To
Yes, Mr. Chair.
digest o kaya iparinig sa atin sa public hearing na ito kung ano yung nilalaman. Yung second batch daw, okay lang.
Mr. Chair, yung second batch actually na-post na rin sa Facebook noong Desyembre at summary lang naman po.
No, I'm referring to the Blue Ribbon Committee records. No? Yung Facebook, hindi naman pwedeng gawin record ng Blue Ribbon. So you can discuss the second batch of documents if you wish. If not, then it's okay. So we can proceed.
I'd be happy to answer any questions na lang that you may have po. But may I also add, Mr. Chair, that...
Mr. Chair, sandali. Mr. Chair, if the good congressman will be the one to identify or talk about the contents of the files, I don't think he is competent because he is not part of the PWH. He is not even a staff of the PWH. He has nothing to do with the preparation of the entries, the consolidation of the reports. He has no personality to testify. I think what he can testify is limited only on how he was able to obtain the files from DPWH, particularly from the office of Yusek Cabral. At least, from legal standpoint, it is not proper for the congressman to identify or make any explanation as to the contents of the files. He will be incompetent. First of all, I don't think these files which he got has been authenticated by the DPWH. As I can see, they are refusing to render the authentication.
Na-authenticate nila yung second batch. Yun ang nire-refer ko na pwedeng i-discuss based on his own analysis.
Yes.
Yung second batch that he submitted, authenticated na.
So, yes, Mr. Chair, that is one I would like to ask them. How do you authenticate? Is this a public record or a private record?
This is of public record, Mr. Chair. This is
So
a
how do
summary
you-
of...
Kasi under the law, ang authenticate lang doon sa inano ng Supreme Court sa rules ng electronic evidence, mga private documents lang. Considering, Mr. Chair, that these are public documents, will you please tell us the manner by which you identify or authenticate public documents?
Mr. Chair, we are just authenticating that these documents emanated from the DPWH. These summaries of
Wala ba siyang considering that these are digital records, wala bang digital signature? Yun lang, pag meron digital signature by any way, I think the committee will accept it.
Walang digital signature, Mr. Chair. However, we have knowledge of the authorship
digital
of
signature, hindi naman yung signature talaga eh. There are various ways by which these documents can be categorized as having digitally signed, not necessarily the signature of whoever is the custodian of that document. You understand? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
The Vice Chairman is recognized. And then Senator Bam.
Yeah, would just like to ask former Secretary Bunoan.
By the way, deferred na yung 10 or 15 minutes natin, ha? Labo-labo na ito. whoever wants to ask questions, you may
Yes.
just call the attention of the chair.
Mr. Chair, I would just like to ask Secretary Bonoan, have you seen these files, sir? Do you have any idea? Kasi Yusek ho ninyo si Cabral na nasa possession niya po itong documents ito. Do you have a copy of these files, of these documents? Have you seen these documents?
I have not seen anything. I have not seen any of these documents that we are talking about, Your Honor.
Yusek Bernabe show Secretary Bonoan, former Secretary Bonoan.
Teka muna, si Asek ba, Yusek Conti?
With the kind permission of the Honorable Chairman, I'm Nicasio A. Conti, the Undersecretary who replaced
Yeah, Yusek.
former Yusek Cabral.
Administer lang namin yung oath ninyo.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Secretariat.
Kindly raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
Please take your seat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Erwin.
Former Secretary Bonoan, can you identify these documents? Kasi Undersecretary niyo siya, I'm sure you also have a copy or you have knowledge of these files?
And this document that has been shown to me looks familiar to me, Your Honor. This is this is a consolidation of the allocables, the computed allocable per district. And there are other information here, including what has been the total allocation as for the total allocation from the General Appropriations Act.
Mr. Chairman, may I, that is a list, total allocation. My question is, was it released? That list, yan, yung hawak ninyo yan, na sinabi na galing daw doon sa file, listahan yan. District yan, per district. Listahan lang yan. Ano ba yan? Sinabit lang sa GAA, nasa GAA or nasa NEP, and then, na-release ba?
That I would
Nagawa
not know.
ba?
That I would not know.
That is, I think, what the more important question to ask, not just a list.
Yeah, I am saying, Your Honor, that looks familiar to me, but as far as these items were released, I would not have any information about it, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Bam.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, has the committee established how the list was acquired? Hindi pa. Nakapagkwento na ba si Congressman Leviste? May we know, Congressman Leviste, how you acquired the list?
On September 4, with Yusek Cabral, after she had a phone call on speakerphone with Secretary Vince Dizon, and I also had my phone on speakerphone, and I believe that my mother also spoke with Secretary Vince Dizon that night. And Secretary Vince Dizon said that these are public documents and that all of them can be shared not only with me, but with the public.
And were these given to you as a printout or was this a file that was emailed to you?
The printout that I have sent there with a timestamp September 9, 6:03 p.m. was a hard copy. And I also got a soft copy of that printout.
From?
From the office of Yusek Cabral, with Yusek Cabral present.
Okay, so yung email na pinanggalingan nung listahan is from a government employee or from an official email of the DPWH?
Soft copy was given to me.
Sorry, USB ba or it was
Yes.
emailed to you?
USB.
Okay, so may binigay sa yung hard copy at may binigay sa yung USB with all of these files.
Yes, my USB was the one that got the files.
Okay, so binigay mo yung USB mo kay Undersecretary Cabral at kinopya niya from her computer.
It was my USB from their computer in the presence of Yusek Cabral.
Yes, but you have to. We just want to establish how the information arrived to the committee, no? So could you share with us how it arrived here? So binigyan ka ng hard copy, and how did you get the soft copy?
In the presence of Yusek Cabral, I asked if I could get a soft copy of it, and my USB, after a few minutes, because it wasn't readily with me, was brought by my staff, and it was also seen on CCTV that we were coming in and out of the office. And that time, Yusek Cabral was with us. And that was after a phone conversation with Secretary Vince Dizon.
Okay, so yung USB mo mismo, nilagay mo sa computer ni Yusek Cabral and you transferred the file to your USB.
In
Correct.
the office of Yusek Cabral.
In her computer.
In the planning services office computer.
Okay. So, ibig sabihin yan, there should be a copy in DPWH as well because may pinanggalingan yung files na yon. Correct, Congressman Levis, no?
Yes, and after your line of questioning, Mr. Senator, I also have here the names of the encoders that are also noted on each line of the file.
So, DPWH can verify. I don't think you can verify that right now by just looking at the hard copy. The best way to verify is to go back to your computer, check it there, and makikita kung totoo nga ba ito. Correct, no? Yusek,
Mr. Chair, can we share our version of what transpired last September 4? Now, what was reported to us that happened September 4 was that when Congressman Leviste came to DPWH and he was asking for the district allocation per district budget allocation. And this was the one authorized by Secretary Dizon. And that's the second batch of documents given to us, shown to us, and which we are validating. Afterwards, what was reported was that the Congressman Leviste went to the computer and got files from Secretary Cabral's computer. We are not certain what files were acquired. Right after that, we secured the computer. It was sealed off, taken off to ensure that it remains intact and di na po siya matamper. And last December, the Ombudsman issued a subpoena, including that CPU, which we immediately turned over to the Ombudsman on the same day, including all printouts of the letter request in his office. And as of this moment, that CPU, which remained untouched as of September 4, is with the Ombudsman.
So only the Ombudsman can actually verify. Is that what you're saying, Yusek Bernabé?
That is correct, Mr.
Only
Chair.
the Ombudsman can verify because the computer is with them.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Correct, no? Thank you,
Congressman
Mr.
Leviste
Chair.
would like to respond.
May I also kindly add that I believe there are two other groups that also have soft copies of this same file. One is the office of Senator Lacson, who I understand obtained it from the lawyer of the family of Yusek Cabral. And the second is Billionario News Channel, who must have obtained it from some other source within DPWH separate from me. And I have seen another soft copy of the file, which has a slightly different file name than my file, and it is, as I have seen, exactly the same. So the public can be assured that it's not solely reliant on my copy of the file because there are multiple groups that also have a copy of the file.
Mr. Chair.
But was just to clarify, the files that were given to me by the lawyer of the late Undersecretary, ito yung SARO, dated December 27, 2024. 50 billion plus, 30 billion of which flood control projects. And when we cross-check with the records, may mga ghost flood control projects doon. Pero I just found out na incomplete yung, kasi may doon sa SARO na yon, ang total doon nasa mga 100 plus billion, hindi lang 50 billion. Coming from, I think, 155 billion, yung whole universe. So hindi kumpleto yung aking files. Yun lang binigay sa akin personally or through an intermediary nung lawyer ni late Undersecretary. And it appears na mayroong magkakapareho doon sa files ni Congressman Leviste at saka sa aking files. I didn't anymore attempt to ask, and i-follow up ko na rin kay Secretary Toledo. I-walk through nyo nga kami, paano kayo makakuha ng pera o ng pondo from the unprogrammed appropriation? Of course, nangyari lang ito mostly in 2024. Kasi medyo naabuso yung unprogrammed appropriations in the GAA of 2024, di ba? Ang laki, sobrang laki. So, December 27, patapos na yung taon, nag-issue pa ng SARO, I suppose, kasi pag sinabi nating special purpose fund, nandoon yung unprogrammed appropriations. And in 2024, I recall, inamend ng Congress yung special provisions. Dinagdagan nila. Because ang alam ko sa special provisions ng unprogrammed appropriations, napakahipit. Hindi ka makakakuha ng pera doon unless merong excess collection sa non-tax, not even revenue collection, non-tax revenue collection, may excess. Second, kung merong approved loan, di ba? And third, kung what's the third, Secretary? May yun na nga yung may excess, yung certification. Approved loan, may excess non-tax revenue collection,
New revenue measure, Mr.
and new accompanying revenue measure. That's the third. In 2025, tinake out na yon. Binalik na sa non-tax revenue, etc., etc. Now, can you walk us through paano ba nakakahugot sa unprogrammed appropriations? Who initiates? DBM ba? Agency ba? DOF ba? But eventually, the only person authorized to release is the President or the Office of the President, correct?
The DBM, Mr. Chair.
DBM, ang parang alam ko nasa gaan yan, only the President can order or authorize the realignment. Kukuha sa program, i-realign to augment items do sa regular budget. Now that you're saying it's DBM, then I submit, no? Kung
Yeah.
DBM.
Mr. Chair.
Bigyan nyo lang kami ng
Okay.
rundown. Paano ba yung ruta niyan?
Okay, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So basically, the agency requests for the unprogrammed appropriations first are received, of course, by the DBM Central Office, which is meron po yung tinatawag na DMS, yung Documentary Monitoring System po namin, which then it will be routed for those who handles those specific requests. For example, DPWH, i-reroute namin po doon sa may hawak na po ng DPWH, we call the Bureau. And then, of course, initial review and compliance, of course, dire-review po ng ahensya or the bureau that handles it. Following what has been mentioned, kung na-achieve po yung ating trigger to unlock the unprogrammed appropriations, which is yung excess revenue or there is a new revenue measures plus yung ating mga, there's a perfected loan when it is particular for the foreign assisted projects. Okay. So after that po, the requesting bureau will now, of course, transfer that or request for our what we call the debit vouchers, which is kasi may managmumon administrator po ng unprogrammed appropriations para may control po tayo as far as releases for the unprogrammed appropriations, just like other lump sum funds, like for some pension gratuity fund and miscellaneous benefit fund, may lump sum po na nagpo-monitor or the administrator. So once debit voucher has been approved, yan po, release na po namin yan, okay, transmitted to the, of course, meron po yan, sinusundan po. It will pass through the Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Budget Preparation and Execution Group, together with the Undersecretary of the Budget Preparation and Execution Group. And then, once that's approved or endorsed to the Secretary, that will be signed by the Secretary, and this now becomes the special allotment release order signed and approved by the Secretary, Mr. Chair.
Wait, anong role ng DOF? Sila magsasabi na merong excess revenue
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, Mr.
Na-omit nyo, yes.
I forgot to mention that, Mr. Chair. First, the excess revenue should be certified by the Bureau of DOF through the Bureau of the Treasury na may excess revenue po tayo. When we say excess revenue, that is comparison between the program versus the actual collection during that period. So yun po yung kailangan po natin may excess revenue muna bago natin ma-unlock yung
Secretary, non-tax revenue. Not necessarily revenue collection, non-tax revenue.
Well,
pag-usapan dito.
From the certification that was certified, it came from the non-tax revenue,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So ganun po yun.
So yun na yung ruta nun.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Hindi ito nag-i-start sa DOF, sasabihin ng Treasury, meron tayong excess dito, DBM, kumuha na kayo ng listahan sa mga agencies. Hindi ganon. Parang ganon na alam ko eh.
Yung ano po,
Kasi hindi po na kayo makaka-act kung hindi nyo alam na merong excess revenue, excess collection,
Yes,
di ba?
Mr. Chair. Because the agency cannot request without that excess
Correct.
revenue.
So talagang nanggagaling muna sa Department of Finance.
Yes, Mr.
Or
Chair.
PTR.
That there is an excess revenue.
Okay. Sino?
Mr.
Yes.
Chair.
Yeah, may I direct my question to our Prosecutor General? So, there were files going around, but the source is now with the Ombudsman. That's correct, no? We can verify that.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so may mga files si Leanne, si Congressman Leanne, may files ang committee, but the real source is in that
Sorry, Senator
computer.
Bam, correct ko lang, hindi files ng committee. Hindi ko pa binibigay ito sa committee.
Sorry.
Kasi nga, hindi
siya verified.
Hindi authenticated.
Okay.
Kaya I'm just keeping it in my possession.
Okay. So, there are files that are around, but the source nasa DPWH, nasa computer ni Undersecretary Cabral at na-turn over na yon sa Ombudsman.
That is correct, Mr.
That is
Chair.
correct. Now, PG, I know you're not with the Ombudsman, but let me just ask, since you're the Prosecutor General, kung may ganong data, anong usually ginagawa ng isang agency like the DOJ or the Ombudsman with that data? What do you do with it?
Well, ang ginagawa ho namin pagka pagka-computer, we request for forensics examination to extract and to look at the data which is in the computer, which I believe is what the Office of the Ombudsman will also be doing, sir.
So you will check the veracity of that
Yes.
data, no?
Yes.
Based on testimony, based on real-world occurrences, we will find out ano ba yung na-release, are these projects ghost projects or not? Eventually, meron bang mga kumita dito o hindi, no? So the data is basically a lead for the DOJ and the Ombudsman.
That is correct, sir. The data that will be extracted based on the forensics examination will at the start be just leads that can be followed by the investigating police agencies or the National Bureau of Investigation that will aid them in their investigation. As it is, it's not yet a determination of the veracity or the truthfulness of the contents of this information. It's first trying to find out, okay, these are leads, tingnan natin saan tayo dadalhin itong mga leads na to kung ito susundan natin.
And it is these files are much talked about. Do we have the commitment that they will be further investigated at matitingnan talaga siya kung ano ba talaga yung authenticity at veracity at kung meron ba talagang malfeasance na makikita sa mga files na ito? Is that a commitment, PG?
Well, while I am not with the Office of the Ombudsman, Mr. Chair, nonetheless, we are in constant communication with the Office of the Ombudsman, and we have already somehow discussed the matter of the files, but since it's with the Office of the Ombudsman, it's really their call. I know for a fact that they will start also some forensics examination of the computer, and then that would start and kick off possible investigations to ascertain, one, the authenticity of the documents that were secured, and then second, to also ascertain the veracity of the contents.
Yung hinahanap na paki-authenticate, tell us whether these are real or not, or the veracity. Currently, it's still in process.
Yes po. Yes po.
Okay. Thank you. Salamat po.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. I have
Yes, Senator Erwin.
a couple of questions for Yusek Bernabe and Congressman Leviste. Yusek Bernabe, there were reports that I read na may mga nagsasabi na these files were forcibly taken. Have you investigated kung totoo ito? Because may mga lumalabas na balita ako nakita sa social media claiming that they're the employees of Yusek Cabral, that they were forcibly taken. Have you investigated this? Kasi kung may mga ganitong kwento, dapat iniimbestigahan ho ninyo.
Mr. Chair, that was the report. That was the report that the soft copies of the files in the computer were forcibly taken. However, upon the request of former Undersecretary Cabral and her staff, na wag na pong palakihin yung issue, that is why we just maintained reports and the footages, but wala na pong ginawang further action on it, Mr. Chair.
Have you reported this matter to the Secretary Vince Dizon, na there is such an incident? And why did Secretary Yusek Cabral decided not to pursue anymore about this matter?
The Secretary is well aware, Mr. Chair. In fact, he is the one who acceded to the request of former Yusek Cabral and her staff na wag na pong palakihin yung issue. As to why that is why the former Yusek would want that, we cannot answer anymore po. Siguro po ayaw na po niyang maging issue, Mr. Chair.
All right, let me direct my question to Congressman Levisa. Kung, is this true? I mean, what they're saying na Yusek Cabral said na parang forcibly taken ninyo, kinuha lang ninyo, hinablot lang ninyo itong soft copy na ito sa office ni Yusek Cabral. Is there truth to this?
Mr. Chair, I believe the lawyer of the family of Yusek Cabral said that Yusek Cabral never said that it was forcibly taken, even when this was discussed at the Ombudsman in early December. And it is based on others' testimonies that is so. But apart from the lack of any mention of it by Yusek Cabral, there is also the CCTV that was also showed by the DPWH.
Because there are two employees in the office of Yusek Cabral stating that I believe I saw in some news reports claiming that you went to their office and forcibly took the files. So you're denying that, Congressman Levisa?
Because the authorization, I'm saying, sir, came from Secretary Vince.
Okay.
And Yusek Cabral was also present when I was obtaining the files.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else?
Oh, may I also...
Senator Marcoleta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yusek Bernabe, yung authentication, kasi alam mo, sabi na naman ni PG Padulyon, forensic na naman, ano. Bakit pa tayo magpo-forensic? Alam mo, merong rules on electronic evidence. Under Rule 4, sa PG Padulyon, yung best evidence rule, sinasabi rito, Section 1, original of an electronic document. An electronic document shall be regarded as an equivalent of an original document under the best evidence rule if it is a printout or output readable by sight or other means, shown to reflect the data accurately. Ganun lang kasimple, compare mo lang eh. This is the rules promulgated by the Supreme Court on July 17, 2001 under AM number 01-07-01 SC. Ganun lang kasimple yun eh. Pero yung sagot mo kanina, parang hindi na, huwag nang palakihin yung ano. It's unfair na, the inference is negative. Na parang bang si Congressman forcibly, huwag naman ganun. Dapat meron kayong report talaga na walang ganun. Di ba?
Yeah,
He
Mr.
is
Chair.
a member of the House of Representatives. The insinuation that he forcibly took some data is not only be reflective on the image of the House of Representatives.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, yun lang po yung nireport po sa amin. So we were just relaying po. That time po, I wasn't still with the DPWH, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, we just received reports na naglabas na po ng arrest warrant sa Sandigan Bayan laban kina Engineer Bryce Hernandez and Engineer JP Mendoza. Now, Mr. Chair, I just want to put on record that once the arrest warrant is served to these individuals, what are we going to do? The Blue Ribbon Committee shall transfer their custody to Sandigan Bayan, or shall we wait for the hard copy of these warrants of arrest?
We need to wait for the official copy of the warrant of arrest. So I'm sure Sandigan Bayan will communicate with us. And when that time comes, then we will turn them over to the custody, legal custody of the Sandigan Bayan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I could just make a few quick points. First, I thank everyone for their questions on my involvement with the files. I would hope that we can also discuss the contents of it. But regarding my involvement, I would be glad to face any of those questions when they are brought to me. What is personally important to me is that the contents of the files can hopefully be made public And considering that the DPWH is here, maybe there could be some kind of commitment on them authenticating and releasing it. And I would also like to note that to add to the authentication of it, I can also provide the committee, Mr. Chair, the list of the encoders, because there is a entered by on each. There's around 30 names here. And lastly po, there is a
Paki-mark na lang.
column on handwritten notes and several names that have provided handwritten notes to Yusek Cabral on the projects, which might also be related to the documents in the supposed 6 boxes that were made available in the DPWH. And former Secretary Bonoan is also mentioned in many of these handwritten notes from Yusek Cabral, and because we have the privilege of having him here, it would be great to learn how that was done. And lastly, because of the Senate President's question a while ago on how many of these projects ended up actually having SAROS, I would...
Would you like the chairman to ask the question that you just mentioned? Kung paano ginawa?
Yes, Mr. Chair. If I could just make this last point on the response to the Senate President's question. I also have here a list of the projects from the files that we checked against the GAA and the DPWH transparency portal, and close to 99% of them ended up in the GAA, and maybe over 95% of them have a contractor already awarded to them. And I could also provide this list po to the committee.
Kanina na-mention ni Senate President, yung allocables, tama yun, listahan lang yan eh. Wala namang assurance yan na papasok sa GAA. Tama ba, Secretary Bonoan, di ba? These are, based on the formulation prepared by Yusek Cabral. May formula siya dyan eh. Kung ilan yung pupunta sa ganitong region or kung kaninong tao or kaninong grupo, di ba? But ako naman, ang take ko, well, it's just a mere listahan. Pero ang motive for getting involved in allocables is to get kickbacks or commissions once naandun na sa GAA at ready na for implementation. Ang tawag ko doon, attempted robbery. Or at least, very least, planned robbery. Kasi nasa isip mo na, kaya ka kukuha ng 1 billion halimbawang allocable kasi nagkukwenta ka na kung magkano yung commission mo. Pero without that, no, there's nothing wrong.
With the list? Yeah.
With the list, per se. Depende sa motive, di ba, Undersecretary Bernabe? Are you the son of the former justice? Oh, you should know. At saka, di ba, pwedeng i-analogous yan sa planned robbery, di ba? Nagpaplano ka na, dahil nagkukwenta ka na, oops, meron akong allocable na 1 billion. I'll pursue this to its logical conclusion, which is the GAA. Pag nandyan yung GAA, naka-allocate na sa'yo, nagkukwenta ka na ng 10%, 15%, 20%. Yun ang masama. Pero kung allocable mo is to address the needs of your constituents, especially mga district representatives, I cannot see anything wrong with that. No. Even senators, kasi may mga constituencies din ng mga senators in their respective areas of residence, for example. So, yun lang ang take ko. I do not agree and I do not also disagree with the Senate President along this line.
Well, the best thing at this point, Mr. Chairman, is that the Ombudsman has the computer and the contents of what really is inside that, no? And it can be compared to the list that Congressman De Vista had, Senator Lacson had, and what is in the portals of these departments. In other words, the executive department has a copy. It will be a welcome for the committee to have the files by Congressman De Vista submitted to the Blue Ribbon Committee, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator
Mr. Chair.
Marcoleta.
So, Yusek Bernabe, palagay ko mahihirapan kayo na sabihin na hindi tama yung files eh. Alam mo ako, nakakuha rin ako from other sources. Pareho rin eh. Kaya nung yung ating chairman nagsalita, nagkaroon siya ng press con, sabi niya, At least there are 5 secretaries, cabinet secretaries, and USEC have been recipient of allocables, sabi niya, as shown by the Cabral files. Tiningnan ko talaga. Tama siya eh. So hindi naman kayo nag-react eh. Di ba?
Mr. Chair, with regard to the Cabral files po, no, dahil nga po ito yung galing sa computer and ito po ay, kumbaga, we do not know the context or we have no personal knowledge on how that file was created, authored, etc., Mr. Chair. Remember, Mr. Chair, the Secretary assumed this post September 1. And in September 4 po nangyari itong incident. He had impossible for him to know kung ano man ang laman ng computer na yun. That is why when it was reported that files were secured from the computer, the prudent thing to do was to secure the computer. Hindi na po namin yan binuksan, hindi na po namin hinalongkat kung ano pa yung laman ng mga computer na yan, ano pa ba yung mga files na ginawa nila former Yusek Cabral. Kasi those were the 2025 budget and prior years, which is already ongoing po. So it was already immaterial from our point of view, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, alam mo, Yusek, hindi naman namin sinasabi na tingnan mo lahat yung mga files na ito as they came out, di ba? Pero nung marinig mo ang chairman ng Blue Ribbon Committee, at least 5 cabinet secretaries and a few USEC are recipients of allocables in the Cabral files. Hindi mo man lang tinignan, at least yung point, yung part na yon. Ako tinignan ko eh. It should have been more significant on your part kasi kayo nga yun eh. Ako tinignan ko lang eh. At tama naman siya. O bakit hindi man lang kayo
Mr.
Hindi man lang
Chair,
kayo nabula. Hindi mo man lang tinignan kung tama o hindi.
hindi na
that you
po,
can react.
Mr. Chair.
Why? Why?
Because yung files po na ito, yung context po, no, of course, we had no idea how it was created or authored.
Sa akin kasi ang interpretation ko na hindi kayo kumibo, tama talaga and the files is accurate.
Hindi po, Mr. Chair. No? In fact, we did not even look at the computer anymore. Sinecure na po namin yan. The first time I saw some of the files ay on social media na po. Kapag noon, pinost-post na po, doon na lang po namin nakita. Pero po yung actual file po sa computer, hindi na po namin tinignan, Mr.
So you
Chair.
didn't even dare to look into the files? Meron man kayong files kahit na sinurrender na ninyo sa ombudsman, di ba?
Wala na po, Mr. Chair. That computer was sealed off po after that incident.
Why didn't you weren't even bothered by not being able to get a copy para lang sa inyo before na binigay nyo sa ombudsman?
Insofar as those files were concerned, Mr. Chair, these are unofficial files po, no? Ito pong mga paano po ginawa yung document na yon, ano po yung mga nakalagay doon.
At the very least, we have expected from you, like investigating whether or not the files were modified or altered or deleted. Kasi malalagay doon sa computer kung the date where you modified it.
Yes, that is
Bago
why...
niyo binigay doon, so makikita natin even the files acquired by Congressman Lebiste would suggest whether they were altered, deleted. Makikita nyo naman doon eh. That is a minimum requirement that you have done, sana. Para makita natin, even without forensics, alam mo na, totoong mga files. This is more important.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. Kaya lang po, we thought that ombudsman po yung best na mag-handle ng files together with the PNP ACG, Mr. Chair. I think baka po, kapag po kami yung maggalaw, baka po matamper namin at mapagbentangan pa kami na tinamper namin yung mga files, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Erwin.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just want to set the record straight. The availment of program appropriations under the 2024 GAA may occur when any of the following exists. Number one, excess revenue in the total tax revenues or any one of the identified non-tax revenues. Number two, new revenue collections. Number three, approved loans for foreign assisted projects. Or number four, fund balance of the GOCC. In 2025 GAA, Mr. Chair, tinanggal po ang excess revenues in the total tax revenues and fund balances of the GOCC. Just to set the record straight, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Erwin. Wala na? Manifest lang ng Chair before we suspend. Show cause orders have been sent to the following. Mr. Mario Lipana, COA Commissioner. former Congressman Elizalde Saldico, Mr. John Paul Estrada, Mr. Mark Texay, Mr. Orly Regala Gutesa, Mr. Virgilio C. Eduarte, and they're given 2 days to respond to the show cause order. So that said,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
I'm not sure po kasi kung we'll have a chance to ask Secretary Bonoan again. Would it be okay,
We'll
sir?
have to suspend the rules and with the permission of the Senate President.
Or I could ask you po to ask.
Through the chair. Pwede.
Yes.
Sige.
Sino po kaya ang Bini 10 Senti 2025 F1 at yung iba pong mga nakatag na mga pangalan po dito? And pangalawa po, para sa unprogrammed appropriations, paano po ng DPWH pinipili yung mga projects na yon?
Secretary Bonoan, can you respond?
Your Honor, I would not know actually kung ano yung mga kwan ni Secretary Cabral. Well, I'm just puzzled about these files, Your Honor. With all due respect, si Congressman is a member of the House of Representatives. Would it have been better actually if the House of Representatives authorized actually the good congressman to officially request for this kind of information or data from the executive branch? So that everything would have been not official. Kasi we are talking of things that have not been made official actually at all, no? If there were conversations, authorization from the Secretary, Secretary Dizon and Yusek Cabral, these are informal arrangements to him, and I don't know what would have been the motive actually behind actually getting all this information from the Department of Public Works and Highways, which is a different agency to the legislative branch.
We would just want to help the Blue Ribbon Committee and the Public Accounts Committee of Congress. And if I could just reiterate the second question, if possible, if Secretary Bonoan would be able to shed light on how projects in the unprogrammed appropriations in 2023 and 2024, which I understand were around 60 billion and 153 billion respectively, were selected by the DPWH.
Kindly respond.
Your Honor, I can recall that in 2023, there were unprogrammed appropriations that were given, that were released to the Department of Public Works and Highways to augment the budgets that were cut during the to augment the budgets that were cut in the during the in the General Appropriations Act. Now, for example, in the BICAM, let's say the budget that we proposed is about 37 billion and only 2 billion was released. We requested for augmentation of that fund. For maintenance, it was reduced to the minimum. Then they augmented it from the unprogrammed funds. For foreign assisted projects, it was cut drastically from 70 billion, as I can recall, 70 billion to only 20 billion. So I think in our request, Mr. Chairman, since there were available unprogrammed funds, we requested them for augmentation. And these were the things that were released actually to the Department of Public Works and Highways. Now, these are the things that we received from the unprogrammed funds in 23, Mr. Chair.
And I agree, no? At least a portion na pang-augment talaga yan eh. Kasi yung on-program, sabi ko nga kanina, under the special purpose, di ba? That's part of the special purpose fund. Ang gamit nito, kung kukulangin, halimbawa, fluctuation, nagkaroon inflation, kailangan ng augment, kukuha sa on-program based on certain conditions, no? Na enumerate those under the special provisions.
Okay.
Okay, so hearing is suspended. You'll just be notified. Thank you very much. Thank you all for attending this hearing.